Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you are listening to High School Hoops with our hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Stager. Hey, everybody. Welcome to High School Hoops, brought to you by our sponsor this month, Dr. Dish. The best, in my opinion, shooting machine. It has the technology. It has the durability. It has the size in which it's so easy to collapse it down and put it away. Go over and check them out at Dr. Dish. I'll put the links down below. Also, if you mention Coach Unplugged, they will give you a $300 discount. Episode 10 of High School Hoops. Today we're going to talk about communicating with your players. I think it's a great resource. Before you go and listen to this or watch this, make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial. It is the Netflix of coaching resources, but even better than that, it is community, it's resources, it's one-on-one calls. It is everything you would ever need to become a better basketball coach. So go over and check it out. All right, let's get to High School Hoops, episode 10. All right, we're in double digits. Yes,
we did it.
Episode 10 of High School Hoops. And all right, go ahead, Coach. We're not even going to waste any time on the intro.
Nope.
Let's go. All right, what's the question?
We're going to part 2 of the How and Why series, the How and Why of communicating beyond your players. So what we're really talking about is communicating past your players, whether it's your school, your community, and especially parents.
Yeah.
Some key points that I wanted to talk with, and I'll start with the topic, and then Steve will add on to some of the things I talked about, and then give some of his thoughts on the topic. I think it's really important early in the season because it helps eliminate distraction and allows us to address questions before the season really begins. I think if you can be able to over communicate early in the season about all the things of the course of the year, that's only going to help you.
I think that's, I'm going to stop you there for a second. I think that's the key for everyone listening is over communicate. Don't over communicate, and it will save you a lot of headaches. All right, go ahead.
Yep. Team meeting, I think you got to keep it simple and organized in paperwork. I think a lot of times I've done things where, things are 14 pages long. I don't think they need to be that long. I think you got to keep your rules and things simple because I think you can constantly overemphasize them through the course of the season.
Yeah.
And you can go back to them. And, you got to remember that the school that you're probably coaching at has some type of athletic code, and those type of things kind of take care of that. Really focus on what you want in your program and your team, and then mostly everything else is circumference around it. So keeping it simple is really important. Just because, as humans, we can only take so much information. I think that keep things simple. It's easier on the parents. I think it's easier on the players as well, and everybody else that's part of the program. Another one thing, the 24-hour rule. I think you got to allow time with communicating with parents. You'd like to use the 48-hour rule during tryout times, but you have to create separation amongst yourself and those parents after a game to allow them to cool off, to allow you to cool off. I think it's really important then for you to get that support system too. You always want to go into when you're communicating with parents to always have other coaches with you.
Yes,
that
have
gives
another
you time.
body there, yes.
Yep. It is a time where it's really important to have multiple people in there because it's going to give you validity within your program, what you're saying, and it's a more comfortable environment for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
It just instead of being by yourself.
Yep, I agree.
One thing I think is always really effective, and what I've used, and I use it in all the coaches, sports I coach, I like to do a weekly newsletter with constantly emphasizing on the things I said early on in the season, but just very simple things, bus times, constant reminders, those type of things. You can use apps, internet, stuff like that.
Are you going to do that this year as an assistant coach?
I don't know yet. I have to see what Nick wants me to do, but that's something I would totally do. I love to over communicate. I've learned a lot of things through teachhooch.com about communication, and the wave of technology makes it very easy to over communicate. There's no reason why you can't do it. It's very user friendly. It is not time consuming whatsoever. It's really easy on a coach now to be able to communicate with players through the course of the season.
I love the idea of the weekly newsletter. And I'm going to jump in here just so I don't forget something. But what we have in our schools, we have parent reps. So I always like one level of communication, and everything comes from one. So if it's you, that's fine as the coach. But I do it through my parent rep. So we communicate, and then the parent rep sends everything out to all the parents. Not that I couldn't do it, but it's kind of a person to make sure that everything's kind of, because they have questions that, they're a parent. So they have questions. It's like, when's the bus getting picked up? Is there food? That kind of stuff that maybe I'm not in the heat of the battle thinking about. I'm thinking about maybe an offense or a defensive scheme. So
it's something you can totally navigate to somebody else. Things that I always put in there is, whether, a lot of smaller schools will have parents be ticket takers, all those different things where people need to do. Bus time is huge, address and location, what the kids need to wear, even if it's the same thing over and over. Always put it down, reminders of what to eat, those type of things, constant, the same thing over and over. And then sometimes I'd like to put like a message about the season, how things are going, maybe some good shout outs, build positivity within your program. But I also think at some point, especially within the games, I think it's really important to, after you over communicate, you want to separate yourself from the parents. You really want to be involved, just the kids and your program. I was talking to a guy this weekend. I was up in Wisconsin Rapids, and he was talking about how their son's soccer coach was talking to the parents before the game, and it was a varsity game, and the coach was telling the parents that there's no athletes on this team and all those things. And I just don't think that's a very professional thing to be doing as a coach, especially before a game. I think you've got to be able also, we talk about communication, there's a time and place for it, and there's also limitations, because in the end, it's really about what you do with those kids. So
it's your classroom. Yep. And it's like you still want to communicate with the parents about things that are going well and not going well. But there has to be some sort of boundaries with that. I would agree. What else? Anything else, Coach?
That's all I have in my notes, Coach. So it's on to you.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it goes back. I think you hit it out of the park. I mean, using things online, we have gotten to the point. Everybody, I hope you're enjoying High School Hoops. Episode 10. Make sure that you go down and subscribe and like. We really do appreciate that. Also, make sure that you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It will teach you that you don't need to worry about your phone going off in the middle of a podcast or a vlog. Talk to you soon. The communication can be, I love that 24-hour rule. I love that, don't email me if you have a specific question, kind of like, let's talk, or let's get your son or daughter in to talk about it. The parent rep thing has always been, you can usually find a parent that is wanting to do that, and they can kind of be the in-between person. Again, your program better than I would. I have one of my assistants actually has a Snapchat. He does that communication with players a little bit. I do mine through the Remind app, which is basically an educational tool. So if something changes at the last minute, I can send them out. It's like, volleyball season. I'm in the middle of volleyball season right now, and we had, for some reason, I put late practice, and we actually had early practice, and the boys are talking more than they had talked to the girls volleyball players, and they go, Coach, I think it's early. So I sent out a reminder. Yeah, oops, Coach must have typed it in my master schedule that I hand out at the beginning of the year. I said, I must have typed it in wrong. That's my fault, guys. Early practice right after school, blah, blah, blah. But you need a way. You as the coach definitely need a way to be able to communicate to the parents quickly and to the kids quickly. And so whatever that is, and there's lots of things out there. Another example is we had to cancel a game at noon, and somebody forgot to hire official, whatever. We had to cancel a game at noon. I had to I went through my chain. I got to let the players know. I have to let the parents know. I have to let the bus company know. I have to let all of these things. So if you have a system in place, it's not, you and I are trying to teach during the day too. It's not like we're sitting coaching full time. So you got to have systems in place to deal with those things, because those obstacles will come up during the day. It's, high school hoops, these people are listening to this are probably high school coaches. You better have a system in place. And the first time something happens, you might not have a system in place, but from that point on, it shouldn't have, you should be used to it at that point. You have to get thrown into the fire a little bit to kind of learn what's going to come around the next corner. But what else, Coach? Anything else?
The last thing I wrote down, I think you make a good point. Like, it doesn't make sense to constantly argue with parents and stuff on the phone and the email.
Right.
If you're going to really do it face to face.
Yep.
I think there's some real genuality within that. And also, if it really matters to them, they'll meet you face to face. If it really doesn't if you really got something to say, you really got to want to address it, you can come see me and my staff.
Yep.
Because other than that, you don't got time, especially if you're an educator, to be on the phone, trying to interpret what they're saying in an email.
Right.
And when you talk about
there's
email,
no tone to email. Here's the problem I have. I've had issues in the last couple of years, and it's like, I am more than willing to sit down and talk to you. I am more than willing to sit down and talk to you about Johnny S's, whatever, I'm making up a name.
Right.
Issues, so he can that player can have well, I'm more than willing to do that, absolutely. But we're going to sit in person and do it, because email doesn't convey tone. Email doesn't, I've explained my side. Let's get all the parties together and we can explain it. If you don't, then that's fine, but I'm more than willing to do that. And you're right, half the time they won't want to do it because they don't really necessarily want to sit in a room with all parties included. What actually occurred, what actually, happened, was I honest? Let's talk. I'm more than willing to do that. So I think that's the thing, is like, you can't start shooting emails back and forth. It just doesn't work, because everyone reads into them differently. That's the problem. And even a phone call isn't the same as sitting in a room face to face with somebody, because you can read body language, you can read tone, and you can read that.
You get angry on an email and you send something, you don't get an opportunity to, really, you can't go back on those words that are posted in email.
Yeah.
A conversation really allows you to think about what you're going to say before you say it in front of somebody's face. I think it's just, take that time. If it really matters to those people that want to talk to you about it, they'll meet you face to face.
Yes. And I think there's ownership in that too. That's my opinion. There's more ownership when you're actually having to do it face to face. I agree. All right.
I think we touched on everything that you really need to do in communication.
Yes. And I think it's really important. Over communicate, coaches. As far as high school hosts, for somebody that's been coaching in the high school level for 30 years, you're better off over communicating rather than under communicating. It will save you so many headaches. It really will. So, all right. Thanks, Coach. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that episode of High School Hoops. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you spread the word so everybody knows that they should be listening to High School Hoops. It is going to walk you through years and years of what high school coaches go through. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial. It's my baby. Go check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Have a great week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.